Okay, we're recording, so you can jump right in.
Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Gossip Finance, where I am your host, Alacius Inger.
And I'm Duncan Sandlin. Hello, everybody. Hello, Lacey. How are you today?
I'm doing terrific. You know, we're recording this right now as I have a long weekend, so I'm getting an extra day off. That puts me in a good space already.
Fun. Yeah. Well, I have a long weekend too, so it'll be interesting. But we're getting it in. We got to get our steps in. This is our version of the Peloton. So today's show, we're going to cover some political stuff. So Hunter Biden crashed Congress this week, and that did not go well for the Republicans. It was really embarrassing. Marjorie Taylor Greene got kicked out of her own event. We're going to cover that. Lauren Boebert continues the white trash legacy with domestic violence. And Trump kind of bucks himself in court. So we'll cover that thing. And then we've got a clip from Patrick Bet-David on basically people who claim to be businessmen and women that, well, businessmen, they're all men, but don't really understand business. And then if we have time, we'll cover some other stuff. So that's where we're going to go from there.
You know what? You have just signed us up for quite a smorgasbord today, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. I know. We got to jump in. So Hunter Biden, we're jumping in right now. Hunter Biden, because I'm the king of segues. We all know this.
Yeah, seriously, I need to start scripting you some segues.
I know.
It's not your forte at all.
I'm so bad at segues. Anyway, so Hunter Biden. So he was subpoenaed by Congress. He wanted to say, he said, okay, I'll show up, but it has to be a public hearing because I don't want the Republicans to lie about what I say later on. Right? Republicans were like, no, it's got to be a closed hearing. We covered this earlier before, right? No, it's got to be a closed hearing where we interrogate him and then we can tell the press what he said. And he was like, no, I'm not doing that. And so Congress met and the committee was going to vote on, should we refer Hunter Biden to the court for violating a subpoena? And so they met for that hearing and this happened. This is about the craziest thing that happened this week. It was hilarious. All right, let me bring it up. Right, here we go.
Everybody to left or right, left or right. To left or right.
So that's Hunter Biden.
Mr. Biden, you plan on testifying today, sir? Anything you want to say to the committee?
Take a hold.
Is this it?
What's your message to the committee, Commissioner? Involving your dad in your business.
To come answer the committee's questions under oath before the American people.
So here it was, the hearing by the Republicans to vote on whether or not they should refer Hunter Biden to the court for violating a subpoena, a congressional subpoena. And Hunter Biden showed up at the subpoena date and time. And I'm going to clarify this because their argument's going to be, well, look, we wanted a closed hearing, but that's not how subpoenas work. Subpoenas work like this. You were required to show up at X date and time, signed by a judge. In this case, it'd be Congress. That's how subpoenas work. So he showed up. He honored the subpoena.
So, I'm sorry, this kind of is idiotic. Like, you're surprised you subpoenaed a person to show up, and then you're surprised he showed up.
Well, and furthermore, so this is Ben Meisalas was covering this, so we're pulling this from him, from the Midas Touch network. But he shows up, and guess what? The Republicans don't ask him any questions. And they're trying to use him as like he was in some scam with his father, and that's what they're going to use to impeach his father. But there's no evidence of any of that. So they can't question him in public because there's no evidence. There's nothing. They have nothing. If they question him in public, he's just going to make him look bad, and they know that. So here's Ben Meisalas. He was covering this, but we're going to skip ahead a little bit and jump through this. But yeah, I mean, this was amazing to me.
Words against him. Play this clip.
The chairman refused to take yes for an answer from Hunter Biden. Instead, on December 1, they pulled a bait and switch. They changed the terms of their request. They rejected his offer or his acceptance of their offer and insisted that he now come in and sit for a secret closed-door deposition. On December 6th, Hunter Biden's lawyer reiterated that Hunter Biden was willing to accept the chair's original request and once again offered to appear on December 13th or any other date in December to answer any question pertinent and relevant to the subject matter. He again raised concerns about closed-door sessions. That's what brings us to today, Mr. Chairman.
Next up, you have Democratic Congress member Jared Moskowitz asking Republicans by a show of hands, will they hear from Hunter Biden right now? Because Hunter Biden has showed up to testify publicly before the world. Play this clip.
And the chairman gave the witness that option, then the only folks that are afraid to hear from the witness with the American people watching are my friends on the other side of the aisle. I don't know if there's a proper motion, Mr. Chairman, but I'll make a motion. Let's vote. Let's take a vote. Who wants to hear from Hunter right now, today? Anyone? Come on. Who wants to hear from Hunter?
Yeah.
No one. So
I think the only person who raised their hand was Marjorie Taylor Greene, probably just because she realized she was fucked. But oh my god, it was just a shit show from there. Let me skip ahead a little bit. Oh wait, actually, let's listen to the rest of this because this guy was great. He killed this.
Let's give him a little airtime. Good job.
Yeah.
I'm a visual learner. And the visual is clear. Nobody over there wants to hear from the witness. Oh, there's one. Thank you.
Will you yield for a question?
I'm not there yet, but I will eventually. So there's no one, other than one or two, that want to hear from the witness. So the majority of my colleagues over there, including the chairman, don't want to hear from the witness with the American people watching. So, Mr. Chairman, I just want to hear from you. Will you acknowledge that you invited the witness on television to choose whether he could come to a public hearing? And do you stand by your words, or do you renege that invitation to the witness?
To answer the question, I've said repeatedly, after the deposition, Mr. Biden can come in front of a public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I don't want to play the video, but that is not what you said on television multiple times. We have the quotes. We can put them up. You said the witness can choose between a deposition.
Listen, Mr. Moskowitz, Mr. Biden doesn't make the rules. We make the rules.
No, Mr. Chairman, you make the rules. And the rule you made is that he can choose.
The rule is...
Those were your words. We're claiming my time.
Here's Congressmember Moskowitz again. Play the clip.
To my colleagues who talk about lawful subpoenas, I appreciate the gentlelady from South Carolina who voted to hold people in contempt. Listen, I'll make this bipartisan. I'll vote for the Hunter contempt today. You can get my vote. But I want you to show the American people that you're serious. Here is the subpoena to Representative Scott Perry, who did not comply. I'd like to enter this into the record. Here is the subpoena to Mark Meadows. I'd like to enter this into the record, who did not comply. Here is the subpoena to Jim Jordan, who did not comply with a lawful subpoena. I'd like to enter that into the record. Here is the subpoena to Mo Brooks, who did not comply. I'd like to enter that into the record. Here is the subpoena to Mr. Biggs, who did not comply. I'd like to enter that into the record. And here's the subpoena to Mr. McCarthy, who did not comply. I'd like...
So that's that was kind of the big joke, right? So they want to refer Hunter Biden to contempt of court for violating a congressional subpoena. Meanwhile, there are a dozen of their fellow representatives, Jim Jordan, Kevin McCarthy was the speaker, all that, who were subpoenaed to the January 6th hearing, and they're over 600 days past their subpoena, and they didn't show up. So you guys, half of you have fucking violated subpoenas, and you want to refer him for violating a subpoena when he's here. Honoring the subpoena. I gotta tell you, I watched this whole thing
I'm
on.
gonna make this stuff up.
No, it was. I watched this on C-SPAN. It was fucking great. I mean, C-SPAN is usually really boring. It's usually like one camera pointed in an empty chair. But
Oh yeah, it's pretty. I have to say it's pretty awful, and I'm interested in these subject matters, and I find it pretty unbearable.
oh, okay. So here is Nancy Mace. So Nancy Mace, if you don't remember her, her whole spiel. She wants to be a big media celebrity like Marjorie Taylor Greene or Lauren Boebert or whatever.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. Can we just pause for a moment on the when I grow up I want to be like Marjorie Taylor Greene idea?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
God, who's got a thought like that going on?
So her whole so her whole crybaby shit is they won't let me. The Democrats won't let me speak because I'm a woman. That's her whole spiel, and she showed up. I can't remember what the hearing was. She showed up and she wore a T-shirt with a big red A on it. I'm wearing the Scarlet Letter because they won't let me speak. And it's like, you never read the Scarlet Letter, did you?
I've taught the Scarlet Letter. She's clearly confused.
Yeah. It wasn't because they wouldn't let her speak. It was because she had an affair. I mean, and I'm sorry, if we're talking about who are the anti-sex Puritans, it's not the fucking Democrats. Yeah, it's you guys.
They don't care who you're sleeping with.
So here's Nancy Mace doing her whole, you won't let me speak because I'm a woman shit.
Moskowitz in the background. Here, play this clip.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Chairman Comer. First of all, my first question is who bribed Hunter Biden to be here today? That's my first question. Second question, you are the epitome of white privilege coming into the Oversight Committee.
Okay, I'm sorry, I forgot that. I'm sorry, the poster child for white privilege is talking to the other poster child for white privilege and accusing them. This is like the ultimate pot calling the kettle black shit.
It's super weird. And let's pause for a second on this, like, who bribed Hunter Biden to be here? You subpoenaed him. You required him there, and then he did it.
What happened was
there's literally no part of this that feels like rocket science to me. Like, am I somehow missing something here?
No, what happened is his attorney is a fucking genius. This is what happened. His attorney's like, look, you're going to have to go through this shit anyway. You've got the weapons charge. You've got the tax charge. The Republicans fucked over your deal, right? You might have to face some time, right? Which is very likely that he might have to do some time. And frankly, if he has to, then, he did the crime. He'll have to do it. But you can't sit there and say it's corrupt because the president's son is actually looking at jail time. We didn't do this for Bush's daughters when they were driving drunk and doing illegal drugs and shit. Nobody did that. Nobody fucking cared. But Hunter Biden got tagged. You talk about, what's the guy? Matt Gaetz took an underage prostitute out of the country to have sex with her. That's child trafficking. That's a major felony. That's like an A felony. And he hasn't been charged. But Hunter Biden is going to get charged for tax evasion and illegally owning a firearm that he never used. And he only owned it for like a week or two. And then he paid back the taxes. He gave back the gun. Admitted to everything. I mean, I'm not saying the guy's a good guy or he's perfect, but I mean, I would trust him with my money more than I would any of those motherfuckers. Are you kidding me? The guy at least cops to his shit. So here's Nancy. She's gonna keep whining. She desperately wants to be Marjorie Taylor Greene or Lauren Boebert. She wants to be famous, but she just can't do it.
Ignoring a congressional subpoena to be deposed. What are you afraid of?
Sorry to see his lawyer's just sitting there laughing.
Have no balls to come up here and...
Mr. Chairman, point of inquiry.
Mr. Chairman,
If
The lady recognized.
if the gentle lady wants to hear from Hunter Biden, we can hear from him right now, Mr. Chairman. Let's take a vote and hear from Hunter Biden. What are you afraid of?
Hold on. Order.
Are women allowed to speak in here or no? Are women allowed to speak in here or no?
Order.
Did you keep interrupting me?
I'll interrupt the
You
chairman.
keep
I don't know
interrupting.
that he's a lady.
I think that Hunter Biden should be arrested right here, right now, and go straight to jail. Our nation is founded on the rule of law.
Come
And
on.
the premise
Come
that the
on.
law applies equally to everyone, no matter.
Rule of law. We
Wow.
should arrest him now, send him straight to jail. No trial, nothing. Just send him straight to jail.
I'm not gonna lie, I normally really find like the live stream like feeds of these things to be like so boring, mind-numbingly boring that
Oh
I
my
can't
God.
even stand it. But I gotta tell you, this is great. Like I want some popcorn for this.
Oh no, I watched the whole thing. It's like hours long. But here was. Did I have another clip? Oh no, yeah, I do. So let me do this. So we're gonna do this. So this is again Ben Meiselas. They covered this heavily because it was long. It was a long hearing, and it was just humiliating for the Republicans, for the MAGA Republicans. Those people were. I mean, because they have nothing. They have nothing for the impeachment. Mike Johnson, who's the Speaker of the House now, who's a total right-wing nutbag, he's punting the impeachment thing because he's got nothing. And it's just going to humiliate them. And he's worried about what it's going to do to them in the next election. Because if they try to impeach him, because if you do an impeachment hearing, it has to be public. And the American people are going to see that they're just tilting at windmills.
Right.
Right? It's going to be humiliating and damage them. So he's trying to punt this going forward. So this whole thing got crazy. So let's do this. So this was, so they covered it a little bit more, but this was sort of the Democrats' response. Because we watched the Republicans there. This was the Democrats' response, and it was just embarrassing. Super embarrassing. Not for the Democrats, for the Republicans.
Mr. Chairman, is this a joke? No, seriously, is this hearing a joke? This is a committee that now cares about subpoena compliance, and we're going to hold somebody in contempt for subpoena compliance. That's really interesting because to me, it seems like you believe we all had our memories wiped 608 days ago when you failed to honor your own subpoena. You see, on May 31, 2022, as the January 6th committee was investigating the greatest crime ever committed in America, with the most arrests, the most convictions, a crime against our Congress, our Constitution, our democracy.
I want to qualify that too, because we've had some comments before. The January 6th insurrection, he's right. Most arrests, most convictions. They tried to overthrow the government and overthrow a lawful election. So he's right about that. So they had a hearing about it.
All they wanted was for you and a few of your colleagues to cooperate, to provide any information you had. And what you all did for 608 days and counting, you didn't show up. And you want us to take this proceeding seriously, where you have an issue with somebody else's compliance with a subpoena, somebody who actually is willing to come forward publicly, something you were not willing to do, something you and Mr. McCarthy and others who were asked to testify were not willing to do. So seriously, is this a joke? If it's a joke, great. This whole Congress has been a joke, so it would be in line and on brand with what has been taking place. But I have to ask, like, how dumb do you think the American people are that you would seek to hold someone in contempt when you are 608 days, 15 hours, 21 minutes, and 47 seconds out of compliance of your own subpoena? I don't.
He's absolutely right. And that's what's amazing.
Whoa.
Well, no, and he's absolutely right. So you guys didn't show up, didn't comply to your subpoenas. He complied. You tried to change the goalposts. He said, no, I won't do that. Then he still showed up to answer questions. You asked him no questions. No questions. He didn't speak at all. Right? He showed up. You guys didn't show up. You guys didn't comply. And you're congressmen. 608 days you didn't comply to an investigation of an insurrection against the government, a government of the people. I mean, it's so disgusting. I can't even begin to imagine this. On top of that fact, you're going to sit there and say, well, it's different for us. And that's the whole game. And it gave it away. And it's something we've talked about before, which is the difference between conservatism and liberalism, right? And, we're not necessarily liberals. You might be. I'm a little bit more left than that. But on that side of the aisle, the law applies equally to everybody. Doesn't matter who you are. You could be Jesus.
Yeah, we've discussed this before. I feel like this keeps coming up, unfortunately.
But this is always the issue, and it has been for 1,000 years, right?
Well, it would be nice if people could actually finally recognize it. There are certain people that believe that the law applies equally across the board, and there are certain people who seem to think the law only applies to certain people.
Well, yeah, but you have to understand our concept of the law applying to everybody, and the law being the supreme justice, the law, something like the Constitution being the supreme law of the land, right? Applying equally to everybody, as opposed to, no, there are princes and then there's the common folk. And the law does not apply to princes. That's the thing. They believe the law should protect them, but not bind them. And for people like us, it should bind us, but not protect us. And that includes all of you, our faithful audience. They believe the law should bind you, but not protect you. That's the whole joke. We can violate a subpoena, but if you do it, straight to prison, no trial. Nancy Mace said it, no trial. Eat a dick. I mean, that's the whole fucking joke about this thing. It's such an amazing deal. Let me see if I can see. Oh my God, we got to skip to
our democracy.
Sorry, my favorite new Congresswoman, Jasmine Crockett. You know who Jasmine Crockett is?
No.
Oh,
Are we about to see her? Am I about to meet her?
You're about to meet her. She's great. She's the best. Oh my God. She's so... Oh my God. If she was single, I would ask her out. That's how awesome she is.
All right.
All right. So Ben Meiselas is going to introduce her, but Jasmine Crockett, she's the best. Here she goes. Oh, hang on. Sorry. So this is Jasmine right here. Let me go back a little bit. There we go.
Jasmine Crockett had to say to that. Play this clip.
I just want to run it back, though, to the very beginning, because this is something that I just can't get over. I can't get over the gentle lady from South Carolina talking about white privilege. It was a spit in the face, at least of mine as a Black woman, for you to talk about what white privilege looks like, especially from that side of the aisle. And let me quote your now ousted speaker and what he had to say about the Republican Party and y'all's lack of diversity. When you look at the Democrats, they actually look like America. When I look at my party, we look like the most restrictive country club in America. So let me tell you something. Y'all don't know what white privilege looks like, but I'm gonna show you a little bit of something. You see, you want to talk about a two-tier justice system, and this is the only time that y'all have ever referenced it, when this country has a history when it comes to Black and brown folk of having two separate sets of rules. And right now what you want to do is have two separate sets of rules because Mr. Moskowitz offered y'all a fair situation. He said he would vote for Hunter to be held in contempt if y'all voted to hold all, even if you remove all of the members of Congress. There's still other people that y'all haven't decided that y'all have excuses for, but y'all don't want to hold them in contempt. But for some reason, it makes sense to hold Hunter Biden in contempt, who has tried to comply. And let me tell you why nobody wants to talk to y'all behind closed doors, because y'all lie. That's just the bottom line. You have done it thus far in this investigation. You have done it this far as it relates to this committee. And every single hearing, y'all spin. I don't know how y'all are still standing right now, because you should be quite dizzy from all the spinning that you're constantly doing when it comes to spinning the truth.
Just so you know what Jasmine Crockett did.
She's the best.
I understand why you might be a little in love, Duncan.
I know.
Did you notice she was from Duncanville?
Yeah. I'm not going to say anything. But yeah, no, she is so my type.
I mean, she's pretty great. She might be everybody's type.
Oh my god, yeah. I think she's probably everybody's type.
She might be everybody's type.
Oh, she went on for a while.
Anywhere, even in her direction, she's amazing.
Oh my god, she went on for a while. AOC smacked him down. God, what was the? Let me see if I can pull. Here we go. Did we get the? Oh, I didn't get that clip. I don't know if I had that clip. Hang on.
Duncan, I might need more coffee before our next segment. If you're needing to find a clip real quick, I would like to refill my cup.
Okay, let's pause for a second.
Let's pause just long enough. If we're doing this thing on Saturday mornings, we might need to pause a couple times so my coffee.
All right, so yeah. So Jasmine Crockett, woman after my own heart. I don't have the clip, but so what really got funny was what was it? Oh, is this the right one? No, I don't think so. Yeah, I think so. Let's watch this real quick. All right, sorry everybody. We were taking a break and we're getting back into it now. All right, here we go.
Gentlemen, time's expired. Chair recognizes Ms. Green from Georgia for 5 minutes.
You're gonna love this, Liz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Excuse me, Hunter. Apparently you're afraid of my words. Whoa! Oh. I like to reclaim my time, Mr. Chairman.
So, as soon as Marjorie Taylor Greene, because he sat there for like over an hour and a half, and they got to Marjorie Taylor Greene, and his attorney's like, let's just fucking get out of here. And they left. And you know what happened? The entire press corps followed Hunter out of the room so he could make a statement. And Marjorie Taylor Greene was fucking pissed because the press wasn't in there when she spoke.
Wanted all the attention.
And then she did this whole thing later on. He looked like he was stoned and he was on drugs and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, that's a shitty thing to say to a recovering addict. I mean, or about a recovering addict. I mean, he's been clean for a long time. But yeah, no, so she got really pissed about that whole thing.
And let's be honest, unfortunately, that's the kind of poo people love to throw at people that are in recovery and have been sober for a long time, like any little thing, and they just want to throw back in there. Oh, well, you're probably on drugs again.
Right? Yeah, that kind of nonsense. That was just that thing was just ridiculous.
Kind of dirty. It's kind of dirty.
Yeah, that was some.